Good afternoon. This is the City of Liberty Lake Parks and Arts Commission. Today is Monday, March 2nd, 2026, and it's 4 p.m. We'll get the meeting started today by the roll call. Nancy Hill, myself, present. David Heimbach.
Present.
Laura Frank.
Present.
Katie Ferris.
Present.
John Barr.
Present.
Noelle Anderson Laparco. I don't see her in person. Is she online, Shane?
No.
No. So we'll show her absent. Bob Schneidmiller. He's not here. Is he online?
No.
Absent. Joni Hayes.
Present.
Gary Edwards.
Present.
Megan Bollinger.
Present.
Great. And staff today, we have Mikhail Stevens, Jen Camp, and then who's online, Jen?
Trevor Slocum.
Trevor Slocum. All right, I think that's everything as far as our roll call. Moving on to the approval of the February 2nd, 2026 minutes. Those are in your packet, I believe, right under the agenda. Does anybody have any corrections or edits to those minutes? If not, I'll need a motion.
I moved. So moved.
Oh, Gary's moved to approve.
Second that.
So it's been moved to approve and seconded by Gary, first by Gary, then by David. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Please show the motion is carried unanimously. We're on citizen comments. I don't see any citizens in the audience. Do we have any citizen comments online, Shane? No. Seeing no citizen comments, we'll move forward to our action items, discussions, and presentations, starting with the Parks Plan update and review. Jen?
Good afternoon, commissioners. Nice to see all of you. I have a quick project update for all of you on the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. And I'm going to try and share my screen here. Can all of you see that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, just a quick update. I know you have a few things in your packet related to this project. Here's kind of where we are in the phases of it. As you can see with the green check marks here, we basically have concluded our outreach and engagement component of the project. We have now drafted your capital improvement program project list to help inform not only your work, but also the capital facilities element of the city's comprehensive plan. We have looked at probable costs and potential funding sources for projects as part of the financial plan associated with the capital improvement project list. And we are on the last phase, which is essentially getting this through review with all of you and city staff and lining it up for recommended adoption with City Council and the Planning Commission. So I'll just give you a quick update on what we've been up to since the last time you saw me. Essentially, we've been trying to finalize and inform your capital improvement project list. This is just an excerpt of the table that will be included in this chapter of the Parks Plan. It essentially has the project title, its location in the city park system. It identifies potential funding sources, some costs and estimates associated with the expense of doing the improvement. And it does that for projects in 3 different time frames. The 1 to 6 year schedule, the 6 to 12 year schedule, and then the kind of more aspirational 12 to 20 year potential projects. In addition to having that table, we've developed capital improvement project maps so that you can see your whole park system and where the projects are set to potentially take place. So we have like an overview map of the whole park system of the city. And then we have, for those parks that have identified project improvements, we have a map showing where in the park the improvement was suggested. The other thing I wanted to just give you some results about was for 2 weeks back in February, we opened an online engagement tool for members of residents of Liberty Lake to use to help inform the prioritization of the capital improvement projects. And it was an online, different than a survey, it was like a voting tool activity where participants were given 500 points so as to represent like a monetary investment and asked to prioritize the various projects that you all helped us identify so that you could kind of get a sense of their input on project priorities. And we had, each project had an image and a short description, and then you could vote using your points. So folks could spend all 500 points on a project, or they could divvy it up. And it was really interesting to see where those priorities fell out. But it gave us an opportunity to also just inform the public about the expense related to some of these projects to help kind of ground the reality of what investments like this take on behalf of a city. The results of that were the top 5 projects that they would like to see the city invest in was a feasibility planning study regarding a community pool. So we made it very clear in the project list that this was just to conduct a study, not necessarily to build a pool, but just to see what the possibility would be there, what some of the constraints would be. A pavilion park playground renovation, playground shade structure at Orchard Park, splash pad updates at Pavilion Park, and then a tree canopy project at Orchard Park, which was essentially the planting of more trees to provide additional shade. And we have a full engagement summary report. We'll make sure that you have copies of, if it's not already in your packet, that'll go into more detail, but I just wanted to kind of give you the overview highlight of that effort. And then the other thing we've been working on is an executive summary. As you all know, the Parks Plan itself is pretty long. It has a lot of detail that will be helpful for all of you as you do your work. But in terms of kind of a public-facing document, it's a lot to digest. So we've developed a less than 10-page, I think it's about 6 pages right now, executive summary that's just the high-level information pulled out from the Parks Plan that can be a great, tool for communicating with partners and the public and things to show the work that the city did. So. And then lastly, we're kind of on the home stretch here with it now being March 2nd. We plan to have this wrapped up in early April. I will have one more presentation to all of you in April, just to let you know that everything is complete and make sure you know all the chapters and pieces are done. I'll be giving a similar presentation to the Planning Commission on March 11th. And I'm also just finalizing your RCO, the Recreation and Conservation Office's certification process. And that ensures that Liberty Lake stays eligible into the future if you decide to pursue grants through RCO. So we're coordinating now with RCO to get that complete. They'll be reviewing a draft of the plan to make sure it meets all of their criteria, which we feel very, very confident it will. And then the last piece is working with Amy and the planning department to ensure that the Parks Plan is adopted by reference in the city's comprehensive plan. So I will be presenting with Amy to City Council on April 21st to make sure that the City Council is aware of all the great work that's been happening for the Parks Plan and get them ready for adopting it when they do adopt the comprehensive plan later in the year. That was a lot of information to cover. I went through it kind of fast because I know you have a lot on your agenda, but that's that's all I have for you tonight, unless you all have questions for me.
Commissioners, questions? Katie?
I have a couple of questions. On page 165 of the 6 to 12 year schedule, Orchard Park, you had put add a community garden, and I'm wondering why that's necessary since there's like the farm is across the street with a huge community garden that people can volunteer at. So it doesn't seem necessary to have a community garden at Orchard Park. Just saying.
We heard from community feedback. That was something that kind of rose to the surface through the community engagement process. And so it's captured there, but it's, the CIP list is still in draft form. So if you all would like us to remove that, we certainly can.
There was a community garden actually, initially on the original master plan of the park. So the only reason it was removed was because of budget. Otherwise, we
Yeah.
would have one there now.
Yeah, I'm just saying it probably is not necessary.
Maybe people.
Well, I think that ours fill up pretty quick. I think that it would be well used.
Yeah,
Even
and I
if,
think
even though
that
they're.
the difference in the farm is that you're helping for the farm stand. It's not stuff that is yours that you then necessarily get to take home.
And the plots in the community gardens would be specific for that person who's renting that plot.
Yeah, I think you can though, if you volunteer in the farm, you can access everything.
Yeah, but I think the desire is to have your own, like if you
Personal.
want your own personal garden, then you're choosing what is being planted versus. I get what
Okay.
you're saying, but I
Yeah.
also
It's a different
understand why there's
offering,
a
different
desire
kind.
to have that in
Yeah.
that area as well.
Okay. The other question I had is on page 171, the long-term aspirational projects. And I think adding protection to bike lanes should be not a long-term, like in the future, it should be something that we're working on every year. So it shouldn't be put off to the long-term projects. I mean, the ones that are,
And Jen, I don't know if you could speak to that, but I know I've been involved in the capital projects plan, and they were talking there that a lot of the bike lane protection is public works,
yeah,
not in the parks plan, because what I was told the other day is the parks plan, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jen, is more for actually the park. Like in the park.
Correct.
so there'd be bike lanes inside of the park.
Well, like, if that's
Or
a
going
project
around
that
the
goes
park.
forward, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, because the protection lanes in the street is part of the capital plan that the city is working on
Yeah.
through the public works, yeah.
yeah, I've heard of that. So that's why I was just kind of confused by that.
Because I asked the question, they said, no, it's like, you separate that.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, those.
Jen? On the timeline, you'll go to the planning commission and you'll come back to us and then you present it to city council in late April, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
I think you have that backwards on your timeline.
I come back to you all in early April.
Never
I
mind.
know you all have
I
a meeting
retract my
that
statement.
first.
You're correct.
We're good.
I had a
Okay.
quick question on page 168, and this might be more a question for Jen. The outline of Rocky Hill Park, I thought the land behind the homeowners on that
Oh,
street was
Good catch.
annexed. to
That,
the-
yeah, that is correct. So Jen, if you're looking at figure 7-4 with Rocky Hill, that top right skinny length, we did an RCO conversion and that RCO conversion is now over at Orchard. So it actually, at the, kind of at the bottom of that leg, it goes straight across now. I can work with you on that tomorrow.
Okay, I'll follow up with you on that, Jen.
I'll kind of draw something up and send it to you. Thank you, Laura.
And Any other questions, commissioners? Oh,
I have one
Laura?
more, and I don't know how much this really applies for this specifically. Just you had the playground replacement for Rocky Hill as a future project. I was just curious what the end of life on that equipment was.
Generally, it's 20 years, 20 to 30 years. So
Oh,
we're,
so we're getting
yeah, we're
close.
getting
Okay.
close. We need to consider
Yeah.
that soon. Yep.
Wow.
Any other questions? So Jen, do you need anything from us today, or the next thing you'll need is when you come back in April for our final kind of approval of the plan?
Yes, that's right. Tonight's just an update, and then when I come back in April, we'll be looking for a formal recommendation that City Council and the Planning Commission consider this ready for recommend it for adoption.
Do you anticipate many changes between now and then?
I don't. Most of it's written. It sounds like, there's a couple of changes you all noticed tonight that we'll make sure we work with Jen Camp to make sure those are integrated. But otherwise, it's just the executive summary that we're finishing and the RCO certification. But the 90% of the content of the plan is complete.
Okay. Any other questions? Laura?
I do have one more. I'm sorry. I was just noticing on the online voting tool received 402 contributions. Is that a fair number? Is that like within your goal range as a representation of what the overall community wants, or is this in line, I guess, with the other surveys that you've done over this process?
We some turnout things we've done for the parks project. I think
You're
our many
you're breaking up. Jen, you're breaking up. We can't understand you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, must be my microphone. We would have liked to have seen more results than that. The online tool was only open for 2 weeks. So that was partly why, as we were getting down to kind of crunch time trying to finalize this, because the team doing the capital facilities plan for the comprehensive plan needed this input. So that's our window wasn't quite as long to keep this tool open. But prioritizing these projects was supplemental to also identifying the projects with the community and the outreach early on. So if you look at the kind of cumulative amount of engagement that we've had with residents, it far exceeds that 400. We're into the thousands. So that makes me feel better about it. If that had been our only outreach and touch point with the community, it would be a little light, but in addition to all the other in-person and other online tools, I think it's pretty good.
Thank you.
So Jen, in the final presentation, will items be ranked according to all your input versus just these 402 contribution?
Yes, the project list itself was informed by all of the engagement over the last, year. And this Fund It tool was simply to prioritize which one you would fund first. So it didn't change the projects themselves, just simply the priority of which one is funded first, their preference for which one to implement first, if that makes sense. But the list itself was informed by thousands of points of input throughout the last year.
Okay, and are the 402 contributors all city residents?
I can find that data for you. I don't believe so. I think there could have been some outside votes as that, because the link was available through the city's website. And so, anybody had access to completing it. And then I believe we collected the data of where their zip code was. So I can get you a breakdown on that, Nancy.
Yeah, and of course, zip code is not, the zip code is shared by people outside the city too, so that's not a good reflection.
We might have their full address. I'd have to look.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to me, and I don't know about the other commissioners, is that our recommendations come from what city residents want, because in the end, they're, part of the funding source.
I'll get that information, Nancy, and get it back to you so you have a sense of how many votes were from residents.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, well, thanks for coming today, and we'll look forward to hearing the final plan in April.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Right, that's a big project, and to think that they're doing that for the city as a whole and everything else, a lot of moving pieces. All right, next up is the 20-year capital facilities plan for parks and public art, and we do need to vote on this. Jen, do you want to talk to them about the process?
Sure, how about we tag team this since you're on the,
Yeah,
you and John too, so jump in whenever you'd like. Before you are a couple of spreadsheets. I sent them out ahead of the agenda so that you would hopefully have time to review them. They are the 20-year capital facility planning document that will be submitted. There is a stakeholder group that has been meeting every Thursday to go through each of these items. I only pulled out the parks page and the public art page. We will be looking for a vote this evening just to move it forward through the final processes and on to the finish line. I think the one thing, if you're looking at the parks page, it shows the projects that are spec'd from the SCJ Alliance Parks Plan. It's based off of their 1 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 to 20 year recommendations. Those would be the green items. And then the yellow items are part of the asset software planning. So they're just things that need to be fixed and amended in the upcoming years. Keep in mind that both of these documents, the public art spreadsheet and the parks spreadsheet, it's very difficult to know what we're going to be doing in 10 years or 15 years or 20 years or 2 years. So take it with a grain of salt and don't over complicate it. Probably, I guess would be the best way. Don't make it too difficult. This is super high level and we're doing the best we can. All of these are in today's dollars throughout the 20-year. Just to be clear, there's no inflation encountered on that. If you look on the public art page, I took a very initial stab at drafting what kind of my thought was, what we might be looking at over the years. But this is just a draft to get the conversation started with the commission. This is the page I really would hope that you will focus on and discuss and come to some agreement, whether my numbers look fine or whether you would like to see them changed. Again, it is so difficult to guess what 20 years out is going to look like. This is just very high level. So with that being said, Parks is fairly, I feel like Parks is fairly well set and could be fine the way it is. Public art, I would like to know if everybody's okay with this document or they want to make changes to it. And then once we have that, we'll make somebody will motion to vote on both and approve them or adopt them.
so like Jen said, I think focusing on the second page where we look at what our annual budget might be going forward. And it was really hard for me to grasp my head around this because we're talking today's dollars. Because we all know that just even from last year or the year before, the cost of hiring an artist for a sculpture piece has gone up. And Karen, our art consultant, has said, we're probably under budgeting for some things just because of the cost of that. And so if we look at starting in 2027, that kind of aligns with our 5-year budget plan that we worked on. And we have is kind of our roadmap. And the 110 is kind of what we looked out. But as we know, those plans change and those were all just placeholders for us. I think it's important that we especially focus on the first 5 years because we'll probably have to live with that more than we will the last 15 years of this plan, because it is a high-level roadmap. So look at these numbers of potential budgets and knowing that our budget for this year, well, minus the carryover. Let's see. Well, it's hard with the carryover. We had 77,000 in a carryover.
So you're about 130.
Yeah, and a total of 207. So we had about 130. Jen, the capital, the categories, capital level art, is that like a big sculpture? or
Correct.
something?
I kind of gauged it that it's roughly, and there's no rhyme or reason, but roughly $10,000 project or bigger, usually like a $20,000 or $30,000 project. So capital levels reserved for those. Non-capital would be things like Storywalk, the Smarty boards, those really less than 5,000, less than 10,000 price range projects. And then public art maintenance is just simply what we've started budgeting for in our current budget, and then inflating that by a few thousand every 5 years just to account for the growing inventory of our art. I tried to keep it simple.
Yeah. So what do you think about these numbers? Understanding it's today's dollars. I mean, in 10 years is 180,000 in today's dollars doesn't actually seem unreasonable.
No.
What maybe seems unreasonable is what 2027 and 2028. And well, the first 5 years might be a little lean.
And keeping in mind, we're not bound to this. This is not a document we're bound to. We already have our parks plan, I have parks plan on the brain. We're already bound to our current budget that has been adopted by council for this year. And we have the 5-year plan or 3 to 5 year plan document. Those are what we're bound to.
We're bound to the 3 to 5 year one.
Well, 2026 has been voted and approved by
Yes.
council. In the world of the Parks and Arts Commission, that's our current plan. It will change from year to year. I don't mean bound that we can't change them in
Yeah.
outline years.
Because I kind of want to move the first 5 years to 130,000. I know we don't have that on our plan, but with an education from Karen, I think we need the
Then-
extra money.
I think it would make sense if you're going to do that, then to increase every 3 to 5 years, however you want to break it up.
We want to graduate it, start.
Yeah, graduate it instead of saying 130 and then in 2032 going back to 100. That wouldn't make sense.
No, but I mean, I kind of like maybe 130 for the 5 years and then potentially 145 or 150 and then what, like
Mhm.
that, go into 5 year
Graduated,
increments.
yeah.
See what that is.
What?
I would agree with that just because, based on conversations with Karen, is that we are underestimating what the cost is of some of these larger capital art projects. But the other additionally to that is the duration to execute those. So I think, that the duration piece doesn't necessarily play into this, but just how we're factoring that in. My only hesitation would be our success rate at executing that scale of a budget to date.
Yeah, but I mean, we're playing catch up. If we ever got to the point where we weren't playing catch up, I think with the help of our art consultant, we could probably do it. Given that, say it was 130,000 and one sculpture costs 80,000.
Yeah.
Then, you have maybe a mural and something and the maintenance, and it doesn't take much to use and the programming, which the programming will likely grow some because especially once this building is used for when this building is vacated for City Hall and then there's actual programming space for more programming.
Yeah, I think the increase is appropriate based on what we're learning in terms of what we need to be budgeting and allocating for those larger
Yeah,
projects.
so my preference is we start at a higher number. I'm not that disappointed of where we end up. I just think the first 5 years is a little lean. I mean, could we just do 130 and then keep the 145 and what it has going up from there?
Well, you did, if you, excuse me, if you increased it to 130, that's just shy of a 15% increase. So what if we did 130 the first 5 years and then did 15% on top of 145 and then 15% on top of 180, et cetera, then on out to 240, 2042, 15% on top of 215, and that takes us through 2046. That'd be
Yeah.
the same increase
Yeah.
for the same periods.
Do you think we need to increase it the whole way, or is it just what I'm seeing the first 5 years? Because again, I keep telling myself, this is today's dollars. So it's probably gonna be a bigger number in 10 years because it's not gonna be today's dollars. It's hard to think that way.
No, the increase would factor in some level of, cost of goods and that type of increase, which we're not supposed to be planning for. So what this increase is saying in today's dollars is that we're going to tackle larger projects.
Yeah.
So I would be inclined to leave those as is for now.
All of them, or?
No, the first 5 years, but once I
Do
don't
the
know
first
that,
5
yeah, I don't
years
know
and
that we
leave
need
the
to-
other
yeah.
15 alone? Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
I agree with that as well.
Okay. So do we want to go to like a 125 or a 130, or what are you thinking?
130, my thought.
So 130, and then we just need to figure out how much of that we would want in. Would the lion's share of that go in the capital level art then?
I would think so.
Do we need to put any more in the non-capital?
Well, yeah, let's just focus on that capital number for
Okay.
starters. And then treat each of them separately. It'll be easier that way.
Is that number fluid? I mean, it can change, right? It doesn't need to be. Those three categories can move however they
Yeah.
want between the total budget, right?
Can you just change the total in the first 5 years to 130 and whatever the math is, add that to the capital level art?
It's gonna be easier if we just change the capital level art.
Now you're gonna make me do math.
I wouldn't worry about the bottom number. Let's focus on each of the 3 categories.
What if you just go 90, 30, 10? You do that right?
90, yeah, that's it.
90, 30, 10?
Yeah,
Just
let's
keep
do
it.
90, 30, 10 the first 5 years.
Okay.
Thank you, engineer.
So then the next 5, what would you like to see? Just
I
leave
think
it,
just leave it at that.
130,
Yeah, because it's today's dollars, we'll just
Okay.
leave it.
and then leave the rest.
Yeah, so are we good with just changing the first 5 years? Okay. All right, going back to the first page, that just coincides with kind of what SCJ just presented. So does anybody have any questions for Jen on that, or anything that pops out at them, or we're okay with what the park plan is that we'll eventually vote to approve next time?
I just had a quick question on the Rocky Hill component replacement, just given the dollars that we are hearing for pavilion. It doesn't look like there's component replacement until 2033 at 395,000. Is that? I'm trying to think of when that equipment went in. I want to say it was around
2010.
2005.
Yeah.
Geez, I was thinking like 2000.
2010.
Okay. Does that number need to increase, or do you feel like that's a component?
Probably when we get there. But for being that far out, that's a best guess.
What's the number?
395.
I thought
If you're
pavilion
just,
was
if you're
that.
just replacing like in kind, that's probably
Oh,
accurate.
Okay, I was thinking
Think like in
pavilion
kind.
numbers that you're getting and
Is a
those are
renovation, yeah.
usually higher, so.
Budgeted 250 for like.
Yes,
For pavilion,
correct.
but.
Okay, that makes sense. I was,
Yeah.
I had the pavilion
Like
numbers
in
in my head,
kind.
but that is a complete renovation.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
correct.
Non-like in kind went up to about 500,000.
I know,
Yeah.
that's why I was like, oh, that doesn't seem like enough, especially looking out, 5 years.
Right. Anything else on the first page of the long piece of paper? Okay, we've talked about the second page. Let's go to the third.
The third page is just a budget worksheet.
Our budget.
I'm printing those for you all every meeting now.
Oh, this is our budget.
Yeah.
worksheet, which starting next week, we'll go through this again and we'll prepare ourselves for starting our budget discussions in May because our drop dead date to adopt our budget is August. So that will give us May, June, and July to tune up the budget. So we'll really talk about it a little bit next week just for situational awareness and then we'll go on from there. So if there's nothing more on these first two long pages, we'll need a motion to approve the 20-year capital facilities plan with the suggested edits.
I'll move to approve the 20-year capital improvement plan with the adjustments made to 2027 through 2031.
Okay, thank you.
Second that.
It's moved by Laura, seconded by David. Any discussion on the motion before we vote? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Please show the motion passes unanimously. All right, get rid of the giant piece of paper. All right, next up, we have the Kramer Art Lighting. This is the lighting for the sculpture project. And Jen, do you want to explain, I guess Ben and Derek had looked at that?
Yeah, so Ben and Derek did some research. We do not have wiring or electrical out to the Kramer Corner where the new sculptures are. So the next best thing we can do is solar lighting. They do have some, it's a step above homeowner style solar lighting, so it's a little bit heavier duty grade. But they found 4 of them cost $259. So before we expend any funds, I wanted to bring that to a vote to the commission to authorize that purchase. I believe it's for 4.
Yeah, I think it was for 4.
Do we know
Let me
the
double check.
lumens brightness on those?
No, let me see if I can find them while you're discussing and
Yeah.
I'll see if it's 4 and I'll see about lumens.
And what I was told is Derek, of course, for chief guy in the field, and then Ben Turner, the public works director, has talked about it, looked at it. They feel like this actually might work. The problem with the solar lighting is we probably don't want to spend a fortune because they're not very stationary, if you know what I mean, and there could be problems with theft. So they thought it would be worth for this roughly $259 to try these 4 lights and see if it was adequate. And if not, we can pivot and possibly use the lights, for somewhere else in the park, in a park.
Do we have an estimate of what it would take to get electrical there if
Nope.
as an alternate?
It'd be expensive. But no.
Yeah, not
I don't have. We don't have. I could ask Ben, but I think it's gonna be fairly expensive.
Yeah, there is 0 plans
Full
for
power.
ever bringing electric there.
Derek, if you're online, can you send me that link? I don't know if you can hear me.
Well, while you're looking for that, we can, if anybody doesn't have any more questions, we can kind of just table this and go on and come back to it in the agenda.
It's good.
I guess the only question I had is if this is a trial, if it's deemed inadequate, I guess I'm just thinking, once the landscaping's in, is the thought that they would remain unlit, or that you would at that point look at electrical, or just start here and see what we get? And
I think that's
Then-
what we're,
then-
Start here
there.
and see where it takes us, I think. I don't think we have thought that far ahead.
Yeah, I know from what Ben Turner said, Public Works has no plan to bring power to that area because they just don't.
I have a hard time thinking that they would pull power just for lighting
Uh-huh.
on the monument.
No, I would agree with that. I didn't know if you could somehow branch off the power that's there for
Yeah, I don't.
the traffic light.
You need a
Great
plug in
question.
the electric utility box.
Ideally, yes, but no. I didn't know if you could pull off the power that's already there for the street
Yeah,
lights.
that's a great question. I can see if I can find out.
And
I
we
don't
can table
think
this for our next meeting too. I mean, it's not, the ground's pretty hard right now, so I doubt they're gonna.
No, I get, we just want to have a plan before the landscaping starts to be able to work.
The nice thing
with-
about solar is we can put the lighting around, make it work with the
No,
landscaping
absolutely.
landscaping a lot
Yeah,
easier.
and Ben said that the landscaping is gonna probably go in early spring, so it'll be, he said it will be in before the fused glass will.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to wait till 70 degrees. Well, do you want to wait for more information, or are you comfortable voting to move ahead with the purchase and try it out?
There was a flyer just last month, wasn't there, Jen? Did you send us out a flyer with that picture?
I think I did, yeah, yeah, the picture of the,
the
yeah.
Four
landscaping.
lights.
yeah, I just can't find it. I'm looking hard.
Well, like
Will Fortnite lights be enough?
that we don't know either.
Yeah.
We may end up buying 4 more.
Yeah, it start with 4 and see what it does,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is a trial and error. Hopefully not so much error, but.
Yeah.
So do you want more information, or do you want to move ahead with a vote to purchase the 4 lights and start with that?
I move that we go ahead and purchase the 4 lights to start.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to purchase the 4 solar lights for roughly $259, and we'll try it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please show the motion has passed unanimously. All right, the next item is the Rocky Hill Basketball Court mural. Had to bring this forward on the agenda. We have the budget for the mural, and the subcommittee was starting to work with Karen on going out for an artist, but Jen checked with the, what do you call this? The court people?
The concrete contractor who preps the surfacing of our courts. And it's a roughly a $10,000 cost to prep the surface appropriately so that the paint from the mural will stick.
Apparently this is a concrete court, and it needs to be scored and extra preparation in order to do that. We did not have that in our budget. But what we did have in our adopted budget was $10,000 for the Trailhead Beam project. After looking at the City Hall design, it's unlikely they're gonna put an old beam in a modern lobby. So we'll probably have to save that maybe for when this area is redone and we have a little more space, which would free up $10,000, which happens to be the cost of the court preparation. And that includes the relining of the court after the mural is painted, which I think we also failed to think about. So I put this on the agenda to see if you are wanting to vote to defer the Trailhead Bench project and redirect that money towards the Rocky Hill basketball mural project so that we can complete that this year. Discussion, comments, questions, thoughts?
I think it's a great idea, especially if we're not in a position to move forward with the trailhead beam.
I agree. Okay, then we need a motion.
I propose that we table the trailhead bench, reallocate the $10,000 to use for the resurfacing of Rocky Hill basketball court and prep for the mural.
Okay, it's moved by David and seconded by?
I'll second.
Joni? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, please show that motion is passed unanimously. Now we're on to our subcommittee update and discussion. And Karen, do you want to lead that?
And real quick, while Karen is stepping up, it is a 4-piece set and it is 125 lumens per fixture.
I'm not,
Worth a try.
I'm not an electrical person, so.
I think that's all.
We need an example.
Worth a try.
Flashlight is like 500 minimum.
Oh,
But we'll
Do you
see.
want us to go heavier, bigger?
I don't know, you know,
I mean, we can always use these elsewhere if they don't,
where are we buying
Got
this
it.
from?
online.
That's Amazon?
No, Earth Tech products.
say, try one out.
I'm,
Okay.
Stick with the original plan.
Maybe we call not to take away from your time, maybe we call the manufacturer and see what they say, given the dimensions of what we're looking at.
Well, and I mean, I trust Ben's opinion
Okay,
because Ben picked these.
let's just go with that.
yeah, I'm trusting the system
Yeah.
until it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Which hopefully never happens. All right, sorry, Karen, go ahead.
Okay, so as far as the Rocky Hill basketball court, there's a draft prospectus for the artist, which I worked on, which I only sent to Laura and to Jen today to proofread for me to make sure that I had all the concepts figured out. It will essentially be a mural whose theme is basketball. As opposed to having some kind of more complicated thing. It would be a thing where we do a prospectus, it's a request for qualifications, we get to a finalist or 2 or 3 finalists, pay them a small stipend, have them come back with a specific proposal for the court. And my goal would be to send out the prospectus as soon as possible so that we would be able to have them painting as soon as the court is prepped. And I don't think I mean, you guys have done this before. I read the prospectus that Laura created from the previous project in 2023. Spokane Arts also did this with Hoop Fest in a couple of other area parks. I think it's pretty straightforward. I was thinking that the Public Art Selection Committee would be your subcommittee. Do you have any desire to have any basketball humans who are involved with local basketball participate in your art selection?
I think we did on the first one. I thought it was a good perspective. And I know there are both local artists and basketball players in the community that I think would be willing to sit on that. But
Yeah, I think we had 3 at-large positions. We had a basketball player, we had an artist, and we had a city council person.
Okay.
Wasn't that right?
yeah, and then you
And
and I.
park staff.
Yeah, and us.
Trevor
And
Slocum
Trevor
was
was
on
on
there.
there.
Yeah,
well.
Trevor. So a staff, 2 from the commission, and then 3 citizens from the community, 1 being a council person.
Okay. Will you, Jen, help me identify a council person? Danielle Davis, I think, was your artist previously,
Mhm.
and it seems like it might make sense to ask her to participate since she's already done it and has experience doing that. And then perhaps someone can give me some guidance about who the basketball person might be.
We have the artist that did the skate park is also a former collegiate basketball player. So that might be a fun tie-in.
I
to
don't know
see
who
if,
that is.
Joshua Thomas
Oh,
did
yeah.
that. So
I
I
don't know
think
if
he would
Josh
be
is in
good.
town, but.
Yeah, he lives in Liberty Lake and he did the skate park and I know he played basketball as well. So that would be, he's got the art and the basketball perspective.
Right.
And, he's
And
got
I know
projects
that
with the
young man
city.
that plays some semi-professional basketball and played college basketball that lives in the city, so.
Okay, so I'll circle back around. I think we should be ready, hopefully by the end of the week, to post that up on Smarter Select, which is the online art selection software. And then I can start working to get it out through the various things that we do, both through the Spokane Arts newsletter and also their socials. And I have a list of people who have proposed for other basketball hoop projects, so I can also send a direct email. And then as far as the City Hall conversation, some of you were here last last time, most of you were here last time. After some discussion with the subcommittee, I think the feeling is that we would focus first on the interior of the City Hall building in this year's project and defer the exterior to next year, rather than trying to do them at the same time. And also there was some concern, I think, with the Public Works folks about the capacity to do both of those things at the same time and the potential cost of adhering something to the outside of the building. I started working to put together a budget. I think that the interior would be in 2 phases. There would be a phase to commission an artist or artists to work around that theme that we discussed, which is past, present, and future, that would be very specifically Liberty Lake focused. And then to do a portable works selection for the conference rooms. And when I say a portable works selection, typically what that means is we would ask artists to present to the selection committee works that already exist as opposed to ones that would be specifically commissioned, and select from works that already exist for the conference rooms. Anyway, I'm a ways into that. I'm working on a budget. I wanted to make sure before we released the prospectus that there was sufficient money to do appropriate framing with glazing. So my concept is that for the lobby area where there will probably be more traffic and potentially, I mean, I don't know how wild your Liberty Lake City Council meetings are, but I work with a lot of government agencies, and frequently they ask that the artwork that's in those main public areas, even if they're paintings, to have plexiglass or glass over the surface so that you don't end up with popcorn fingers or people with Sharpie markers marking on the artwork. So I have a couple calls into people to look at the framing costs before we look at the full budget. I worked on that last week, and for whatever reason, a bunch of people were gone on Thursday and Friday, so I don't have perfect numbers, but I think we're getting there. Do you have any questions or suggestions for me about that?
My only thought, and I think we brought it up at the meeting, is there any art that the city already owns that would be suitable to move over, or would it just stay here with this building? And
So this is the thing that I can't, as your consultant, answer the question for. When we met last week, I asked that question, if there were things that were here that you felt strongly needed to be moved. As we were looking at what's in this building, a lot of it, to be honest with you, is reproductions of historic photographs that were acquired from the local museum. I think they're all perfectly adequate things, but they're not super special. And my gut level feeling is that we would be leaving the majority of them here unless there was some strong feeling on behalf of staff or council or others that those things needed to be moved.
okay,
And I don't have I haven't walked to every room in this building, but I don't think there's much that is extra special. I don't think there's a lot of things that are here that would be inappropriate to stay here if this becomes a parks department. And I think that's the plan, right? That this would become the Parks Department.
And as I said in our meeting, I think I would defer as staff to the administrative level folks who are moving over there to decide whether the art goes or not. But really, all we have is we have the Requiem to Horses, the painting out in the front, and then the Family Pieces sculpture.
Mhm.
Those are really the main 3 pieces that we have. Everything else is what you see here.
Right.
yeah.
So,
It'd be nice to start fresh in the new building and get stuff that fits the vibe of that building, I suppose, and the theme.
right.
Yeah. This is exciting.
Okay. And as far as the City Hall art selection, my understanding is that I will write up my thoughts as soon as I get those numbers from the picture framers. You guys will have a chance to look at them, and then they'll go to council for approval, for the approval of the concept in the budget. And then I am imagining that for that, we would also put together an art selection group, which I would believe would be representatives of your art subcommittee. And then I'm imagining someone from the mayor or administrator's office, which I don't know who that is, but you can help guide me with that so that we have people that are, at the appropriate level. I still am kind of getting a little bit of a grasp of the building plan. There's some placeholders that the interior designer for the architecture firm put in. And I'm still kind of trying to get a sense of what absolutely has to be there because of things like monitors and sound equipment and those things that there's some things that are not really negotiable in order for the function of the building. So anyway, I don't have anything else to say about that.
So that was to use our $60,000 budget for this year for the interior of the building, and then we'll budget for something in the exterior in 2027 when we have more opportunity to discuss what restrictions there might be for something on a building, or what kind of, how, is there any space outside the building? We can make a more informed decision then. So does anybody have any questions for Karen? How are you feeling about starting with the interior with our budget this year? Thoughts?
I need a point of clarification on the outside of the building though. So my concern that I have is we allocate the funds for the interior. And then when we look at 2020, we say 2028, 2027, then we don't have the option because we didn't know what the outside of the building was going to look like in terms of space if we wanted to do something like a mural. I want to be able to have that pulled out from underneath us without our input.
I don't believe that there are any substantial proposed changes to the exterior of the building. From my conversation, both with the architects and the public works director, I believe that the main outside things are that, I'm going to call it a portico, the porch-like thing, and the signage. And then in our subcommittee meeting, we discussed the unbrick section, which I don't know whether it's drive-it or concrete or whatever it is, as a possible mural site. I think if we did a mural on that exterior wall, that $40,000 would probably be adequate. I don't know if we would do the entire section or if we would go up to the height. There's that kind of band that goes around the building that forms a really specific design element. I am imagining that we would go up to the height of that band that goes across the building.
Yeah, and we have 40,000 as a placeholder in our 2027 budget, but that's not to say we can't change that number.
Well, the other thing and I don't have the numbers figured out because I'm waiting for the picture framers to get back to me, but it is possible too that depending upon what was selected for the portable works, we might be able to pull a little bit of that money forward into next year. But we don't know the exact number yet. So I'm not going to promise that we're doing that, but I think we might be able to.
We just need to know no later than our August meeting what a realistic number is for 2027, given what our concept is to do. So
Right.
that's
a
what-
ways away.
Yeah.
We have enough time, I
Yeah.
think, to.
We are
Yes.
talking, this portion on this wall is the one that was facing.
The one that's facing
the
Mission.
one, which is not in your picture.
Yes, but
So it's this side here that's.
It's the
facing-
south, the south facing wall
Okay,
that faces the street.
so it would be on this.
That wall there.
Yeah, perfect.
No one can see this, but this is the side of the building and it's that brick or block, but then there's a white patch that on the facing Mission side. This is what happens when you take a crappy picture off the internet and screenshot it, but I'm trying to figure out what.
Good enough.
And then I noticed when I drove by, did you drive by? there's there's a partial wall, like they were gonna maybe hide a dumpster back there, and there was a basketball goal that the church had there. So there's a concrete wall that goes up, like 5 foot or so high, and then you can see above that, but you can see this way from that angle and not much from this angle, so it's gotta be looked at a little bit.
Well, it seems like it would make the most sense to start the mural at the height that is above what the garbage can retaining or whatever you want to call that, the hiding wall for the garbage cans.
Yeah.
You start above there and go up to that horizontal line that matches up with the architecture.
Yeah.
And I need to get a measurement of that wall, and then I'm gonna ask a couple people that do murals if the number that we have is sufficient.
Yeah. And maybe, I mean, you'll have an idea for something else we can do, but that is kind of a bare spot if structurally we can't mount something on the building, which was the impression we were given.
Well, my understanding for people that have been thinking about that, the brick that the building has is not structural brick. It's a veneer of brick over an aluminum structure. So it doesn't have a lot of integrity. I mean, you're probably not, I mean, if you ran your car into it, it would break. If you drilled a bunch of holes in it, it probably would need to be reinforced from the back because it basically is a cloak, not a structure.
Oh.
And I've worked on that kind of structure before, and it can be kind of a pain in the neck to retrofit the engineering into the area behind the brick if you're doing something that's very heavy. Which is why I think the mural idea is more appropriate.
Yeah.
Then in the front, it's mostly just sidewalk and parking lot. There's no place for a freestanding.
There's not much real estate there,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, for anything that would, like if you thought about doing a series of sculptures, almost everywhere where there is real estate would be a place where something could get hit by a car door or, because there's not, I mean, there just really isn't very much land there.
Right.
The depth of the sidewalk is not that great.
Mhm.
Sidewalk is narrow, and I don't think they're planning to redoing anything in the parking lot or the sidewalk with the existing plan. That the focus is on the interior of the building.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, that's food for thought, and
Yeah.
we can talk about the exterior more as we go through the budget process. But is everyone okay with focusing on the interior this year? Does anyone have any concerns? All right.
I guess my only,
I don't think so.
Okay.
I guess
Pardon me?
my only concern would be, is $60,000 enough for the inside?
I have no idea, but that's the money we have.
well, so yes, I believe it is.
Oh.
If we stay focused on the entry area and the conference rooms that are most adjacent to city council chambers, that doesn't put artwork in every conference room in the building. But it seems like it makes sense to focus when you come into the building in those areas, that lobby area, the two most commonly public conference rooms, which are to the right when you go in, and the council chambers itself.
Yeah, so the public areas.
The most public areas. So,
And John, to that point, if the 60,000 doesn't do the full extent, we start in the most public areas and work our way to the lesser public areas, and we can have another budget, a different year to add. I don't think it has to stop.
well, and having worked in city halls, I don't know about your city, but I worked at the city of Spokane for 15 years. And I guarantee you that your city will meet a sister city, or you will meet someone who has something that they would like to give to your city that needs to go in a conference room somewhere. So it may not be immediately that happens, but most mayors get really lovely diplomatic gifts from international sources and from other people. So I have no doubt that you will have art for your conference rooms, whether you ask for it or not.
Good point. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Karen. We are so appreciative of you being on board. All right, next up, the sculpture garden proposal, which Karen, you may want to weigh into it. The Rose Noble presented to the subcommittee. She's from Visit Spokane about the possibility of Liberty Lake having a sculpture park that would be funded by lodging tax. And yeah, that's
Well, so Rose came in, this is what I would call a big idea with no plan. She came, and you probably know that Visit Spokane is looking for things to market, cultural assets that are in Liberty Lake, the Valley, Airway Heights. I mean, obviously downtown Spokane has Riverfront Park and the convention facilities and things. So her big idea is that a park or a series of conjoined land masses within your city might become a sculpture park similar to the sculpture walk in Spokane or the some other kind of sculpture park. There are sculpture parks all over the world, and it's a thing that people go to visit frequently. As it turns out, her idea, which I think is a very interesting idea, would require some significant planning. And one of the questions was sort of like, if you guys were interested, would we develop some kind of prospectus for someone to come in and help make a sculpture walk plan? At the moment, I don't think, and I can't speak for your lodging tax committee, but I don't think there's sufficient funds there to do a sculpture walk or a sculpture park without additional funds from some other, whether they be sponsors or grant sources or other things. I think it's an interesting idea. I don't know your community well enough to have a sense of where that place would be the most likely to be and where people in the community would appreciate having it.
yeah, I mean, we have 3 major parks right now, and they're all kind of filling up.
And I was thinking about this a little bit after our meeting too, because, she had said larger than life sculpture, which, the draw of that is very interesting. And it's like you said, it's a unique concept, but, I was thinking in River District, you already have 4 smaller sculptures or pieces of art that are through the community and go on to like by the community farm, walking down to the Centennial Trail. So I don't know if something like that scale, if that's what she has in mind, or if she really wants that larger than life, like I know she brought Minneapolis and a couple other cities that are obviously more populated than ours.
Even
that would-
Seattle has that one down by the waterfront,
Yeah.
and they're big.
But the larger than life, well, it's a very interesting concept. I think like you said, the lodging tax does not have sufficient funds for something like that. And we'd really have to entertain looking at developing a long-term plan and how we would execute.
And right now, the lodging tax, I mean, that's given out to organizations based on, people putting in a request. So we'd be competing with current recipients of that. And we all know what even one normal size sculpture costs. But I was thinking about after our subcommittee meeting and hearing the presentation of when I was in city council once, and one of the city council members and Mikhail started that a little bit about having a map in Liberty Lake that shows our art. And yeah, it's not a sculpture park where you get out of your car and walk around one area, but there was an interest in creating Liberty Lake as kind of more of an art district where people could use a map and go see different things. And you may eventually be able to go to one park and walk around and see, more than one sculpture. But unless somebody gives us a chunk of land, I don't know where we would put a giant sculpture park and how many, I mean, it'd take 20 years to do probably.
Well, that's why I was thinking in the River District where you have along the Centennial Trail, and then you have with that map kind of concept, you have local businesses as well that might want to feature like there's a small sculpture outside of New Love and Three Ninjas, and then there's one by the farm stand, and then I think Karen, you helped with the bench and the shoe, the stiletto. Is it a shoe? What's the
A
outside?
shoe,
It is a shoe.
Sammy Perry's giant high heel shoe.
Yeah, that walk down to the trail. So that's a way of highlighting the trail and the community, not necessarily in the park, because those, like you said, the real estate required to do something like that. Unless you kind of look at that in this new future park that's in the master plan.
Yeah.
Um,
But I mean, it is a wonderful concept, but the practicality of it, I don't think we have the funding source right now. And, because right now the lodging tax is all being dispersed to a number of organizations. And
That's gonna only increase.
yeah, I mean, right now, we have 2 hotels and there's a third one being built. That's where the tax comes from. So if we get enough hotels, maybe that will become feasible. I just say we keep it in the back of our minds, but I personally don't think that we're ready to commit to wanting even a feasibility study now. I mean, what do you guys think? You were at the meeting.
I would agree with you. I would say that we're minimum, we should just push it off for 12 months. Visit it again next year.
I think Mikhail's idea of doing a map to see the art that's already in Liberty Lake would be interesting.
We have that map, don't we?
Mhm.
Or was that just a prototype?
You guys had one printed or some printed, and then there's also a digital map on the website.
So I think we could promote that a little more.
Yeah, I mean, we could try something like maybe Mikhail at some point having some printed copies of the map at the farmer's market or something to start getting some awareness of the art that we have. But that's a great starting place, Katie, and that goes along with what council was talking about one time when I gave the report.
Yeah, later when I give my report about the Bike Safety Advisory Committee, where we're gonna do a park ride, we could do an art ride,
Oh, I
something
like
like that in the future. So I mean, I think all those concepts are good and we could promote that.
We could start on a smaller scale. We could have like with the community engagement committee, we could have an art focus week where we highlight whatever art that we do have. How we highlight different things through this city's Facebook page. That might be something that we could do. And, it's kind of the same approach, but doesn't really cost us anything to do it that way either.
Yeah, maybe some different people like on our committee and the community engagement committee could be at those places and talk
Yeah.
about the art, or,
Right.
to make it more real. And
Well, that kind of segues into,
Nancy?
yeah,
I was just curious, back to the point of Rose from Visit Spokane. Is there something that we have here that they would, if we don't do the sculpture garden, perhaps there's something that we could give them information about that they would promote about our community?
quite possibly.
A sense that Rose has a pretty good idea
Okay,
of what the current events are that are being promoted in Liberty Lake, and certainly the lake and the trails and those other things. If you go onto the Visit Spokane website, there's a lot of things that connect to Liberty Lake and the valley. I think she's very concerned about coming up with high value destination locations.
sure.
And that's where she's really focused with this idea.
Yeah. And while I love the idea, it's just, I don't think it's financially feasible.
Yeah.
Right now,
Sure.
but certainly food for thought. I mean, I was just hoping she was bringing a giant grant with it. That wasn't the case. So our next agenda item is a upcoming meeting with the CEC. I think it's on the 18th of the month. And Jen, did you want to?
Oh, the Parks Plan is,
The 18th.
we're just gonna update Planning Commission on the 11th and the CEC on the 18th.
And I thought I might go to the CEC meeting with Jen and we can talk to them a little bit about some of the upcoming things like the dedication of the birthday art and getting their help and getting the word out when we're going to have a dedication ceremony. We'll probably have one for the Kramer Parkway piece once it's 70 degrees and and then, as we complete projects, we want to celebrate those with our community. So I was gonna go with her and talk to the CEC about having them help as we, get these events, we're ready for them with whatever art piece is. And so working together a little bit of and using their resources. All right. Next up, and Mikhail, do you want to come up for this? Well, this was brought up at an earlier meeting about a commemorative design for the 4th of July to help celebrate it. And Mikhail, I think you have an update and we may have a vote coming up.
Yes, excuse me. Yeah, so last meeting I had discussed that it was an idea that was brought up and we were just trying to gauge the Parks and Arts Commission if that was something they were interested in promoting and kind of running with. And so I was asked to kind of put together an idea or thoughts on it. So after some research, we had discussed doing something with the high school, which I still think is very feasible. We had a very short email with the instructor over there, the art instructor, and she seemed interested in helping promote and getting the students involved. And we also have Megan here. I did some research just on simple stickers. And so what I came across, because that was kind of what everyone was leaning to last time, is just doing a perfect circle that we can scale down to a 3x3, so 3-inch by 3-inch circle. So they could design it on a bigger sheet of paper, but it just needs to be scalable down to that size. It's a very basic size for stickers, and it'd be easy to purchase and digitize after the fact. So it would be a project where for the high school, we would have specific rules for it. It has to be your own art, no AI art, no taking stuff from somewhere else, fit within that, or be scalable down to the 3x3-inch. And then depending on the commission, if they did want to move forward with it, what would be the theme for that sticker? I would suggest, 20, at least the 25, 250, and either something Liberty Lake or something patriotic to kind of go with that theme for the 4th of July. Ran timeframes, there would be plenty of time to get it done. We would submit it for the students. Someone had brought up having maybe the first set of voting be done by the students, and then we receive, 4 or 5 submissions of their favorite ones. And I think that's all very doable within the time frame that we have. So that's kind of, it's all doable. Like I said, price point, I did look up some of those sticker prices as well. It varies depending on how many you buy. So if you buy 200 stickers, for example, it's 59 cents a sticker. You buy 1,000, it's 31 cents a sticker. So we're probably sticker portion wise, if we were purchasing them, if you bought 1,000, you're in the $310 range for stickers.
And would this be kind of a one-time sticker usage because of the birthday celebration?
Yeah, I mean, depending on how we would envision it, I had envisioned it as if it's something that was successful, you just do it every year and do a commemorative sticker every year. People like to collect things like that. And so if that's something the Parks and Arts Commission wants to do, it could be next year's the 25th anniversary of Liberty Lake, or, whatever theme for that year, if it's something you want to continue. So yes, to answer your question,
We
probably
could give
one
the
time.
Stickers out for free.
Yes.
Okay.
One design? We're looking
One
for
design. Mhm.
No, I like the idea of making the birthday a little festive, assuming there's some kind of city booth that they would be given out of or,
Mhm.
and,
Well, me and Jen talked a little bit. Have to do the wristbands for the kid zone for the inflatables, have another table there as well. So there's a lot of options at the event to hand them out.
Katie?
I was just wondering, is there a problem with kids putting stickers on everything around in our parks and stuff?
I don't.
At schools, they do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, and that could
Do
be,
they just to put on your clothes?
it's just something commemorative for the year. Yeah, water bottle.
Water bottles.
People put
Okay.
them on the back of their laptops.
Like vinyl stickers?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I really like the idea of it being an annual program, especially if you're working with the students where it's, it's like new sticker design every year, a new poster design, it ties well. Are there any restrictions? I see cost being on here next. Is that the cost of the stickers or do you offer a stipend to the students? Can you,
So that-
can you do that?
That's up to you. Yes, you can. It'd be similar to what you would do now with Artist. My thought process is if we're gonna be using it as a sticker, you could say it's, the cost to use their art for the sticker. So how the commission wants to proceed with it. According to Kyle, it's fine.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, I
if-
mean,
if
we
you make a
have,
donation to the art program or if you can pay the student directly or how that works. I mean, I would imagine it'd be in line with like a utility box stipend that we do
Yeah.
now.
we have the 6 rotating art pictures, but that's a little different because they get their picture back, which by the way, they're working on the next rotation, which will be done at the end of the school year. But yeah, this is different because the utility box. So we could come up with a stipend. This would be out of our programming budget, in which we have the, $10,000 in, and I don't know, did we have anything spent yet? I can't remember.
Not this year.
No, it's true. So I think it's a great idea. I think it's fun. People like to get something and
Yeah, this would be the time to do it. We can't wait another month to start.
so do you have any questions for Mikhail? Because if not, we need a motion to move forward with the sticker program using the high school. And then if we do that, then then we'll need to approve spending the money on the stickers and then a stipend. And I don't know, what would the stipend amount be?
Do you need the exact budget or a not to exceed or
Either one, however you guys would like to proceed. I think the financial portion, I think that can wait till next meeting, getting the information out.
just getting it out?
Yeah.
And I think to answer your question, we've done on the utility boxes, we've done 300.
You just said
But
250
for the, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That seems,
What do you think?
that seems appropriate.
Yeah. And that would just be for the winning selection.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of what I would look for is a motion to proceed and potentially, if you're fine with the themes of either 25, 250, Liberty Lake or patriotic, give them the option. Do you want to do something 25 year? Do you want to do something 250? Do you want to do something Liberty Lake? Do you want to do something patriot? Or if you want to narrow it down, because that's probably the only other thing in regards to this. Want to make sure it's the theme that you as community members feel like would best serve the community.
Well, I mean, I know it's the birthday of our country, but it is about the city of Liberty Lake. It'll be given out by the city of Liberty Lake. Do we need to have a nod to the city of Liberty Lake on it? But I don't know, it's only a sticker. How much, that takes up a lot of writing.
I mean, it is the Liberty Lake celebration of the 4th of July, right? So
Yeah.
I think you could leave it to the students
So
and
just-
how they tie it in, but overall, it's a 4th of July commemorative sticker, correct? Or was this more birthday related?
I think because it's a significant year, it would be fun to intertwine the two, but
Yeah.
once
Would
again,
you see giving them just a little fact sheet and then letting them do what they wanted from that kind of thing?
yeah,
Like
so kind of,
25 birthday, 250 country, 4th of July.
yeah,
blah, blah,
kind of what I wrote down was design must incorporate either Liberty Lake theme or patriotic theme or patriotic theme and 25th and or 250th. So it kind of gives them a little bit of flexibility with those options.
Yeah, you might need to write it out a little bit more that it was the 25th birthday of Liberty Lake, because they will, yeah.
What do we think of that $250? Is that too little, too much?
I think that's
I think
good.
That's appropriate. So a
Yeah.
stipend of $250 for the winner.
Mm-hmm. And then we don't know,
What do you think, Maggie?
I think it works. I think we can just like, I don't know, send out a
Just FYI.
slideshow or put up flyers or something, or just have the art teachers
I think that's.
tell the students.
this is just all,
Yeah.
yes, and this will go fast, but yes.
Is there more than one art class or?
Yeah, there are, but I think Mrs. Conster would probably do the most. She's specifically like drawing and painting and stuff.
That's who
Okay.
we've been working with before.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then once, if this is approved from you all, then I would reach out to her again and kind of with some criteria and pick her brain a little bit for a little more details to make it applicable to the students.
So what I hear saying is the 250 and then the sticker price, we don't quite know how many we should order. Part of that might be based on the design, whether it can be reused or not. So maybe we do a not to exceed number.
I don't think we need the financials now. I mean, maybe just the stipend, so you can include that with the information to the students that there is.
That's probably a good idea.
So motion to move ahead with the project and with
With
it.
250,
Yeah.
yeah.
We need a motion.
So I'll move to proceed forward with the commemorative design, working with Ridgeline art students with a prize money or stipend of $250 to be awarded to the winning student
I think
selection.
it has to be called a stipend.
Stipends, sorry. Let me rephrase that. A motion to move forward with the commemorative design, working with the Ridgeline art students with a $250 stipend for the selected design.
Second that.
Moved by Laura, seconded by David. All in favor, aye? Opposed?
Nay,
Pardon me?
nay.
Nay?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have one nay. I don't know how many of us are, I have to count. 7-1, please. Thank you. All right. Now, unfinished and new business, the Pavilion Mural Extension Ticket Booth update by Laura.
Yes, I'll be quick here. So I did reach out and speak with the artist that did the mural that is currently there. After some back and forth and he mulled over some ideas, he does not feel that we should extend around the corner and would like to leave it as is because he feels that the addition of the figurines will enhance the mural, and his preference is to not turn the corner. He had some other ideas for projects that he said if we wanted to engage in discussion on, he was open to that, but he's not interested in extending it. I did send a follow-up note last week asking about the ticket booth specifically, and provide some more details on that. So, and I offered to meet him at the park to look at it and kind of talk through what we're thinking. So I am hopeful that I will have an answer from him here in the next couple days.
Okay, well, if we don't do the mural extension and only do the ticket booth, we'll probably have some carryover money for City Hall. All right, Liberty Lake Better Together Rock Garden dedication. Did hear from the Liberty Lake Better Together group, who are the donors. They have chosen June 3rd as a dedication date, I believe, because they want to get it done before school's out, because the rocks will be provided by students from a number of area schools. Jen and I have a meeting, I think, this week with them, so we can hear what their plans are. Once we know a little bit more, then we can coordinate with the Community Engagement Commission on getting the word out, and getting the word to council and the mayor, and kind of make an event of it. But this is kind of their show and we're just part of it. Upcoming micro mobility bike town hall, date to be determined. I don't know what that means. What was that?
That's with the police department. It's a bike, e-bike.
Oh,
town
the
hall.
e-bike
Yeah,
town hall. But so they're gonna have one this year.
I believe so.
Nice.
Have they decided on the end of March?
I don't know. I haven't heard a date.
I heard
That's kind of what I
Could be
heard
like-
too, but
the 24th
Yeah.
possibly.
I don't know that that's confirmed yet or not. I'll have to find out.
Okay.
Okay.
That's gonna be good. Bike pedestrian safety advisory update, Katie.
Okay, yes, we have met and we have a couple important things to bring forward. First of all, we've talked, Ben Turner has been at our meetings and we're always concerned about safety around our intersections that are very busy on Liberty Lake Drive at Appleway and and going over the highway. And so I did meet with our manager, Mark McAvoy, and he said as it gets busier in Liberty Lake, it's really important to slow down the lights at those really busy intersections to allow more time for people to cross if they're walking or riding a bike. And that is something also the Liberty Lake Police Department recommends. And so I think we should bring that forward and also bring that forward to the city council, that we do want the lights slowed down a bit for pedestrians and bikes at the major intersections in Liberty Lake.
Is that an item that Ben Turner would bring forward then? As a public works matter, or?
Well, we can say that we support that idea.
Mhm.
And Mark McAvoy said he can make it happen if we feel like we're recommending that. And, you know, it's for safety.
Yeah.
So everyone wants safety to be number one. So I think we should just bring it forward as a recommendation.
So we
from-
can put it in as our monthly report, maybe,
Yeah,
and you'll be there?
sure.
Okay.
Okay, so that's one thing. The next thing is we want to help out with that micro mobility education, and I think the town hall is a great idea for us to do here in Liberty Lake. And also the school resource officer is going to help with at Selkirk is going to help with a parent night on safety, and he's going to talk about that because that's the age group that's having problems with following the law on the motorbikes, like the motorcycle bikes. So he's going to help with that. And so that's a great thing. Also, there's going to be a health fair at Riverbend where we're going to give out helmets and more information about the microbility too, because that feeds into Selkirk, which feeds
Right.
into Liberty Lake schools. So that's great. Also, the another main thing that I have talked to Mikkel, and we've talked about it throughout this year, is having a park ride around our Liberty Lake parks to show everyone how great our parks are, how fun it is to get out there and get on your bikes and see things. So we've been talking about that and what date works best. And it looks like May 31st will work. It's a Sunday, and we start at 9 o'clock from Orchard Park, and we go down to the Centennial Trail, over the Liberty Lake Bridge, around to Rocky Hill, Pavilion Park, and then back on Kramer, back towards Orchard Park. So it'd be a big loop. There are the Liberty Lake Police were, Morgan was there to talk about this. He's actually has different police officers that are trained in bicycle policing that could come on a ride with us. So that'd be fun. And so anyway, we're bringing that forward, and I've talked to Mikkel a little bit about that too. He's saying that we need a community event permit. And so are you coming up to say something, Mikkel? Okay. Feel free to. So I guess that's about $65. So I was wondering if our parks budget could pay for that, since it's a community event,
We have
to
to pay.
show off our parks. We're just going to be on the streets, but we do advertise it. Yeah.
Yeah, so community events, like the city, we pay for our own community event permits ourselves, so like 4th of July, things that we put on. And so, because it's being advertised to the public, it would need a community event permit. So,
Okay. Well, we can do that out of the programming budget, and probably once that date is finalized and everything, then we can use the CEC to help get.
We're
that
hoping to
in.
finalize it right now.
Okay,
yeah, the kind of the things I was telling Katie is the permit, and we kind of need to know if the subcommittee is putting this on, is this a Parks and Arts program? Because then it would fall under to the city's risk management and things like that. So those are kind of things I need to know, because if not, then they would have to provide their own insurance for the event as well.
okay,
So
We're just bringing it forward as a part of our parks,
right.
group.
Because kind of started the
Re-
bike committee under the umbrella of the Parks and Arts
Right.
Commission. No, I mean, I like the idea because I mean, it's utilizing our city parks, our trails, our bike lanes, and raising awareness about safety. I think it's a great fit for our programming side. What questions do you have for Katie?
I can also get the county scope sheriff program, the volunteers there to ride around in their cars at that. We've done that before at different bike events, just to have a presence of more people watching out for people, you know, so.
So if everyone's in agreement that this is a good fit for us in our programming budget, we'll need a motion to move ahead with the city city park bike ride. I don't know if you have a name for it, but on May 31st and to pay for appropriate permitting through our program budget.
I'll move. I so move.
Okay, Gary's moved. Do we have a
Second.
second? Joni second. So it's been moved and seconded to move forward in support of the city park safety bike ride.
Yeah,
we'll
we
have to
can
think
call
of
it the Liberty Lake Parks Ride.
Okay, of the Liberty Lake Parks Ride on May 31st and
9 o'clock,
At 9
leaving
o'clock.
from Orchard Park.
and to use our programming budget to pay for that permit. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's been passed. Thank you for that report and doing
I
that.
think it'll be really fun. It'll be really fun for the community and even people from our committee here. If you'd like to be at a park, if you don't want to ride, you could be at a park and greet people and say hi and tell them how great this park is, or so, you know, we're kind of showing off our parks. So if you have a guest that comes in from out of town, you can say, hey, we have this really awesome parks ride. You want to go on it? Yeah.
No, I think
Type
that's
of thing,
great.
so.
And-
And, okay, so I've just seen what other things I have to report on. Also, we're hoping, once there's a safety meeting at Selkirk, to hopefully promote a bike to school day at Selkirk. So there's other middle schools in the Central Valley School District that do bike to school days. Horizon does, Evergreen, Bowdish is interested in one, so let's get one going out here at Liberty Lakes.
Yeah.
Great.
That's what I'm saying. And we also give away helmets at the middle school for kids that don't have them before the rides. So just so you know.
Great.
So the other thing I was supposed to report to you on was the sidewalk safety meeting.
Mhm.
And so they have a consultant that's put all that information together. Sharifa reported to us about, you know, they surveyed all the different sidewalks in Liberty Lake. And so they put all that information together. So basically, they prioritize it as far as, you know, safety, how it connects to different things, different sidewalks, if it connects to a park or a senior living place, different schools. Equity, they want, you know, the sidewalks to be equal in all parts of our Liberty Lake, that everyone can have great sidewalks. They talked about sidewalk challenges and liability and risk, and then they prioritized the different areas that were, you know, worse, and that type of thing. So basically, they have all that information. So now, of course, they're trying to figure out how to fund fixing all the sidewalks. So that's what they're working on now, and they're going to decide whether it's going to be city-led and what percentage would the city pay, and maybe what percentage would the property owner pay to repair their sidewalks? Who would track that billing? You know, there's a lot of things kind of going to there. Maybe there's some grants that are available for some of the funding for that. So that's what they're working on now. They've got the priority areas, and they're trying to figure out exactly how to fund it. So that's kind of the main gist of the meeting.
Any questions for Katie on the sidewalk report? All right, staff report.
Derek, did you have any comments that you wanted to make? Derek? Okay, we'll see if he wants to weigh in. I'll move on. Go ahead, Mikkel.
So real quick, some of the events we have upcoming, we have Clean Green Bulky Waste set up for April 25th, Town Square, like we normally do it. It's all set up and ready to go. They should be sending out the coupons here in the next week or so, or they may have already sent them. I can't remember. I think it's early March that they were going to start. The
Did you
live
say 25th?
April 25th.
Okay, great.
Touch a Truck. So the library is not doing Touch a Truck this year. So Parks and Rec is doing it this year. We're making some adjustments to date and time. Two of the biggest complaints that we heard a lot, it's hot in July, and then also the time of day where people that work couldn't necessarily come and bring their parents. Even though it's a very well-attended event as it was, we're gonna do some adjustments and try and see how that works. So the date will be June 5th, a little bit earlier in the summer. It'll be at Town Square Park from 3 to 6, I believe, off the top of my head. And we're going to kind of try to incorporate some food trucks and potentially music as well. Just try to have some more entertainment for the parents as well throughout the evening. 4th of July, we're still continually working on that. We should be putting that out on the city website and all the marketing, all the information here in the next week or so. Just trying to finalize flyers and marketing materials. The Lud Kramer Memorial Concert, we're working on that. Agreements are being rewritten. Our agreements had ended last year, and so we're working on getting all that updated. That will be the same time frame in that Saturday and Labor Day weekend. There'd been the talk of potentially doing a Fall Fest. We kind of discussed potentially having kind of pillar events in the community, something winter, spring, summer, and fall. So that's just something that's on our radar that we're discussing to see if it's a possibility to do this year or work on planning something for that next year.
Can I, about Fall Fest, I think that at Town Square, they have that little arts and crafts thing in the fall. Maybe you could piggyback onto that or something.
Potentially, she's planning on doing it again this year, but she had mentioned if she keeps growing, she would have to find another location.
Oh,
So this year she's working on the permit right now, so that is a possibility. And then home for the holidays, we're still talking about Christmas. We've ordered some more displays and some more lights just because they're on sale already this time of year. You get a bigger discount if you buy them earlier. So we've already purchased some stuff for this year. So that's all I have for community events. Is there any questions?
A couple of questions. Number one, who's Lud Kramer?
One of the original founders of the city of
Oh,
Liberty Lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't say anything about the scavenger hunt, or I didn't hear anything about it.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at the wrong one. Yes, scavenger hunt. So we had some golf staff have purchased a 3D printer, and they printed us off a small little goat. And that brought up the idea, oh, it'd be fun if these were hidden around the parks and people could kind of do a scavenger hunt. So that bled more into doing some research, and we're looking at doing a scavenger hunt throughout the parks throughout the summer, where they would have different things. It'd be a picture scavenger hunts. People take picture, share it on social media. Hey, I found this, or I did this in the park. So just so you guys are aware, it's something we're looking at doing this summer months this year. Thank you.
okay. Any questions about community events? Okay.
Community gardens, I have one plot left in Arboretum, one in Rocky Hill. Everything else sold out pretty quickly early on. And then rec programming, we started doing some staff-led programming. We did a police station excursion, so like a field trip for pre-K kids last month. It was well attended. We did 2 sessions. It was really fun. Katie said hi in our second session. And then we have a Lego build competition for this coming Thursday night at the library. We're using their facilities, and that one of the age groups sold out and the other one just about did as well. And then we'll have our normal Skyhawks starting up with their spring programming, summer programming, Challenger soccer as well in the summer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any questions for Mikkel before we let him go? Thank you, Mikkel. All right, so I'm not going to go through all these projects, but what I'm going to start doing on the staff report every month is show you the projects that we are currently working on in some fashion. So they're, I would say, in progress to varying degrees. It is becoming a lot. It's a lot for staff because myself and Derek in particular are involved in every single one of these in some way at all times. So while I am happy and glad to be able to help out and stay on top of these, I don't know how many more of these projects we could actually accommodate. So I think staff-wise, we're right at capacity for the quantity of projects because it is a lot to chase. Have some struggles with several artists that don't like to communicate or have a difficult time communicating with email and whatnot. So it makes it very challenging. Things aren't cut and dry like I wish they would be. Anyhow, we'll just keep that tally going so you can see what everybody's working on. And then down in the bottom, 2 more projects, which are not necessarily Parks and Arts project, but we're involved to some degree. The Liberty Lake Better Together Rock Garden and the Rainbow Bridge. Those are also ongoing. Staff heavily involved in the planning of those and then implementing those. We will be continuing surveys throughout the rest of this year for the Pavilion Playground. Once SCJ steps away from the project of the Parks Plan, just so that we can continue getting feedback and keep the discussions open with the community and engage them. Upcoming council, do we want to forgo the March 17th council report?
Well, I'm wondering if Katie wants
Or-
to, do you
'Cause we-
want to do the report and maybe just have it the focus on the bike?
Yeah,
stuff? Because-
we had talked and thought it would be a light report.
Yeah,
I could do that. Maybe by then they decide if they're doing the town hall on the micromobility.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, because what I found is sometimes I have a lot of new stuff to report, but sometimes I feel like I'm just doing a rerun from the previous
Yeah.
month. And we do want to keep engaged with them, but I could see us maybe occasionally skip. So maybe we do the March report focusing on the bike committee and some of that. And
Bike safety, because everybody's getting out on their bikes now.
Perfect timing.
yeah, so if you get
Spring,
the information
bike
about
safety.
what you think the slides might look like and the information to Jen, she's been putting that together.
Okay,
And we'll have you do the report this time with that focus.
okay.
Cool.
I'm not
Yeah.
super techy, but I'll try.
Yeah, you just send me a list of items you want added and I'll
Okay.
format everything and put it together for you.
And
Okay,
then
Yeah.
she'll send it to you to approve. So you just need bullet points that
Yeah.
you want to see on
Okay.
slides.
Yep.
Yeah.
sounds good.
Perfect. And then the last item is the April 6th meeting, I believe falls on spring break. So the question is, do we want to reschedule or not?
I can come on the 6th. On the following Monday, I cannot come. I'll be out of state. So does anybody have a problem with doing it April 6th?
I'm out of town, but I can try to zoom in or carry on without me.
And if you have any things, I'm happy to give the
Yeah.
updates. If you just shoot me an email or
Yeah, I
something.
can do that.
Okay, so we just keep it the 6th.
Fine with me.
I think I'm the only one left on that, well, and you are probably on spring break.
Are you gonna be in town?
So we might have 1 or 2 absent, but I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
So we will have to reschedule our September meeting, so we'll probably just make a note to have it 1 week out, because that is Labor Day. So I'm pretty sure we're not meeting on Labor Day.
Right.
So we'll just plan on that being whatever that Monday is after Labor Day.
I had a quick question on the Rainbow Bridge. I saw at the city council meeting that Councilman Severs had asked about the purchasing of the tags that would go on there. Is there any update to that?
no, not since then, but Mara is going to put together a concept design with a landscape architect or an architect, I'm not sure which, and then that will get presented to council for basically approval.
I think
they'll
his concern was about the tags
Yeah.
that get added if it has to be purchased through them
No,
or if
and
people
there'll
can
be
bring their
some-
own or.
There'll be some kind of directive, but there'll be a QR code if they want to purchase them. They can go through there, but if they have their dog's license or something or their dog's ID tag, they can, they're not prohibited from using, putting their own
Okay.
tag on.
Alright.
But if they want to purchase one, here's the QR code.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I saw
Yeah.
that comment that
Yeah.
we'd addressed it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But we will, all the final concept drawing and the signage language will all go to city council before we do anything because they have had an interest in that. Yeah. Okay, I think that's everything. Katie, thank you in advance for doing the bike focus in March. I think it's a perfect time getting into
Yeah.
spring. Anything else for the greater good? If not, a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Do we have a
Second.
second? Second. Moved by Laura, seconded by Katie to adjourn. All in favor, aye?
Okay.
Opposed? Seeing none, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.